The new intern, Lin Weiwei, was crying. Tears streamed down her collagen-filled cheeks, splattering on the keyboard and creating a small, blurred smudge. The air in the entire department froze. Old Wang, a veteran employee, was the first to speak up, slamming his teacup down. Jiangyu, you're being too harsh. Weiwei is just a kid, a recent graduate. Do you have to be like this? I looked at Lin Weiwei, my expression blank. I asked her to adjust the format of the project report to standardize the font size and line spacing. She spent 2 hours on it, and what she handed in was still a mess. I told her to redo it, and she started crying. I turned to old Wang, my voice devoid of any emotion. Brother Wang, if she were your child, you could take her home and teach her slowly. But at the company, I only pay her a salary. I have no obligation to manage her emotions. Finally, I looked at Lin Weiwei, my tone as cold as ice. Now pack your things. HR will speak with you. My name is Jiangyu, and it was my first day as the newly appointed supervisor of the marketing department's third team. The previous supervisor had resigned after the team's performance consistently ranked last. Before I came, HR director's sister, Sue, had a talk with me. Team 3 is a complete mess. You've got old slackers, people with connections, and overly sensitive types. A full house of problems. Jiangyu, I know you're tough. The company is giving you 3 months. Either you turn this team around, or the entire team gets optimized. Optimized. Such a nice way of saying they'll all be fired. When I walked into the office, a dozen pairs of eyes shot toward me. Scrutinizing, curious, and with a hint of disdain that wasn't hard to miss. A man in his 40s with a receding hairline stood up, extending his hand with a broad smile. Ah, you must be Supervisor Jiang. My name is Wang Jiangwo, but everyone here calls me Brother Wang. From now on, our team will be counting on you. His hand was greasy. I touched it lightly before pulling mine back. Call me Supervisor Jiang, or Jiangyu. Brother Wang? Who's your brother? I scanned a room, my gaze pausing for a moment on a girl with delicate makeup but a timid look in her eyes. That must be Lin Weiwei. Rumor had it she was a distant relative of one of the group's vice presidents and had been placed here. I didn't hold any grand new boss lays down the law kickoff meeting. I just directly distributed the backlog of project documents. I want to see preliminary proposals by 5 o'clock this afternoon. Any questions? No one spoke, but the corner of Wang Jiangwo's mouth twitched as he clicked open a news website. Most of the others also dawdled, making coffee, chatting, as if my words were just air. Only one person, a quiet-looking young man with black-framed glasses named Chun Mo, immediately buried his head in the documents after receiving them. Good. It's clear at a glance who's who. 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Lin Weiwei cautiously placed a printed document on my desk. As Supervisor Jiang, I'm done. I glanced at it. The title was in size 12 font, the body in size 10. 5. The fonts were a chaotic mix. The line spacing was completely random, and an image had distorted the table next to it. Is this a leftover draft from a thesis plagiarism check? I pushed the document back to her. My voice wasn't loud, but it was clear. Redo it. There's a standard template on the company's OA. Download it, and take a look. Lin Weiwei's eyes instantly turned red. But it's almost time to get off work. So, I retorted, you expect to leave on time when your work isn't finished? Her lips began to tremble, tears welling up in her eyes. I leaned back in my chair and watched her quietly. Don't even start with that. Tears are the most useless thing in the workplace. At 5 o'clock sharp, most of the team slipped away. As he passed by my desk, Wang Jiangwo said in a snide tone, Supervisor Jiang, don't be so aggressive, young man. You should be gentler with the young ladies. I ignored him. At 5:30, Lin Weiwei submitted the second version. The formatting was correct this time, but the content was hollow. She had copied 3 paragraphs from the internet without even bothering to rephrase them. I called her over. Lin Weiwei, is this job too difficult for you? She was stunned. Perhaps you're not suited for this place, I stated calmly. That sentence was like a switch. Lin Weiwei's tears burst forth in a torrent. It wasn't silent sobbing, but a full-blown wail filled with grievance and accusation. The few remaining people in the office looked over, including the guy named Chinamo, who stopped typing. And then the scene from the beginning happened. Wang Jiangwo reappeared from some corner, playing the role of a righteous crusader. Jiangyu, you gone too far. What kind of man are you? Bullying an intern until she quits. I stood up. At 6 feet 1 inch, I looked down at him. Brother Wong, is it? What was your assignment for today? He faltered. I was brainstorming. Brainstorming? Let me see your brainstorming. I walked over to his workstation and moved his mouse. A stock market candlestick chart was glaring on the screen. A few suppressed snickers could be heard from around the room. Wang Jiangwo's face instantly turned beet red. I returned to Lin Weiwei. She was crying even harder now, as if she had suffered the world's greatest injustice. I'll say it one more time. Pack your things. HR will settle your intern wages. I'm not leaving. I'm going to find Director Su. This is workplace bullying, she screamed. Fine. I nodded and took out my phone. I'll call Director Su right now and have her come down to sort this out. My finger pressed Sister Su's number. The office fell deathly silent. The call connected. I put on speaker. Sister Su, it's Jiangyu. Jiangyu? Still here so late? How was your first day? Sister Su's voice sounded cheerful. I glanced at Lin Weiwei's tear-streaked face and Wang Jiangwo's grim expression. Not great. I just fired an intern. Her name is Lin Weiwei. There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. Lin Weiwei's crying hitched, a flash of smugness and anticipation in her eyes. Wang Jiangwo also straightened his back, as if he could already picture me getting a tongue lashing. Waiting to see me get chewed out? Naive. Oh, Lin Weiwei. Sister Su's tone was unreadable. The reason? A negative work attitude, zero workability, and she tried to evade responsibility by crying. I said concisely. She's now accusing me of workplace bullying and says she wants to talk to you. A soft chuckle came from the other end. Jiangyu, do you remember why I sent you to Team 3? I remember. To clean house. Exactly. Sister Su's voice suddenly turned cold. I put you in charge, so you could be the bad guy. Forget an intern. Even a slick old-timer like Wang Jiangwo. If he gets in the way, you can tell him to get lost too. If the sky falls, I'll hold it up for you. As soon as those words were spoken, the temperature in the entire office seemed to drop to freezing. The gloating, spectator-like expression on Wang Jiangwo's face instantly froze, then turned deathly pale. Lin Weiwei's sobs stopped abruptly, her mouth slightly agape like a duck with its neck being squeezed, her face a mask of disbelief. To kill a chicken to scare the monkeys. This chicken jumped out on its own, and the effect is surprisingly good. I hung up the phone and looked at Lin Weiwei. Did you hear that clearly? She trembled, pure fear in her eyes. She couldn't utter a single word. Now, can you go pack your things? Lin Weiwei didn't dare say another word. Dejectedly, she returned to her desk and haphazardly threw her few pathetic mugs and trinkets into a cardboard box. I turned to Wang Jiangwo. Brother Wang, by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I want to see the concept you spent all afternoon on today. At least 3,000 words, with data, analysis, and a feasibility plan. If you can't do it, go to HR yourself. Wang Jiangwo's lips trembled, unable to speak. His face, which usually screamed, "None of my business," was now covered in sweat. I stopped looking at them, and my gaze fell on a corner of the office. Chen Mo was still sitting there, the light from his screen illuminating his focused face. He seemed completely unaffected by the drama, still typing on his keyboard. "You walked over? You haven't left yet?" He was startled and adjusted his glasses. "Supervisor Jiang, there are still a few details in this proposal I want to refine." I glanced at his screen. It was well organized, logically consistent, and even included a comparison of the pros and cons of several alternative plans. "He's promising. No need. That's enough for today." I patted his shoulder. "Go home and rest early. Tomorrow is the real battle." Chen Mo paused for a moment, then nodded. "Okay, supervisor." I picked up my jacket and left the strangely tense office. I knew that starting tomorrow, there would be no more peace here. Either they go, or I go. My phone vibrated. It was a message from Sister Su. "Forgot to tell you, the project bidding for the Starlight Initiative begins next Monday. It's the group's biggest project this year, and also Team 3's last chance. If you can't win it, you know the consequences." I looked out the window at the brilliant city lights and tightened my grip on my phone. The last chance? No, it's my first chance. On Monday morning, I arrived at the company half an hour early. The office was empty. I made a cup of coffee, turned on my computer, and Chun Mo's proposal was already sitting quietly in my inbox, sent at 11:30 last night. I quickly skimmed through it. It was even better than I had expected. Not only was it supported by data, but he had also done extended research on the project background I assigned yesterday. Strong execution and initiative. He's worth cultivating. At 8:55, the office door was pushed open by people trickling in. Everyone had a just woke up look on their face. Seeing me sitting there, their expressions turned a bit unnatural. Wang Jianguo was the last to arrive, rushing in just as the 9 o'clock bell rang, with dark circles under his eyes. He slapped a stack of papers on my desk. "Director Jiang, the thing you wanted." His tone was hostile. I picked it up and flipped through it. Complete garbage. He had managed to scrape together 3,000 words, but it was all patched together, full of pointless fluff with not a single core idea. It seems what I said yesterday didn't sink in. I said nothing and tossed his report aside. After everyone had arrived, I stood up. "Let's have a quick meeting." Everyone pricked up their ears. News from President Su. The group's biggest project this year, Project Starlight, will open for bidding next week. Our team will also be participating. As soon as I finished speaking, an uproar erupted. A female colleague named Zhao Na couldn't help but say, "Director Jiang, are you kidding? Project Starlight? That's an S-level project. It's always been Team 1 and Team 2 fighting for it. What does it have to do with us?" Wang Jianguo sneered, "Exactly. Don't we know our own capabilities? Are we going to be cannon fodder and make a fool of ourselves?" The negative sentiment is quite unanimous. I ignored their skepticism and put a PowerPoint slide up on the projector. This is my preliminary analysis. The core of Project Starlight is to develop lower-tier markets. Although our team's performance was poor last year, these are the only type of clients we've dealt with. We have data, even if it's data from failures. Data from failure is more valuable than a blank slate, because we know which paths are wrong. My words quieted the office. Even Wang Jianguo frowned, seeming to be in thought. For this bid, I don't need everyone to participate. My gaze swept across the room. I only want people with ability and ambition. I will personally lead this project. The project bonus is 7 figures after taxes. It will be distributed among team members based on contribution. 7 figures. Those 2 words were like a bomb exploding in the office. Everyone's eyes lit up. Their breathing became heavy. In this industry, the bonus for an S-level project could indeed reach that amount, but no one ever thought it would have anything to do with Team 3. Of course, my tone shifted as I looked at Wang Jianguo. I won't accept anyone who's just here to fill a spot. Anyone who submits garbage will only drag the team down. I picked up Wang Jianguo's report, and in front of everyone, slowly tore it in half and threw it into the trash can. Like this, for example. Wang Jianguo's face instantly went from red to purple, then from purple to white. He shot to his feet, pointing at me, his finger trembling. "Jiangyu, don't you go too far. Go too far." I laughed. "Wang Jianguo, your KPI last month was 0, yet you collected your full salary. You used the company computer to play the stock market, and I didn't report you. Now, I just tore up a piece of trash, and you call that going too far?" He was so angry he was speechless. Anyone who wants to join the project team, submit a personal analysis of Project Starlight to me before the end of the day. I'm only looking at ability, not seniority. I paused, looking at everyone. I won't force those who don't want to participate. You can continue with your daily work, but don't blame me for not warning you. If this project fails, Team 3 will be disbanded, and we'll all be out of job. After speaking, I didn't look at them again and walked straight back to my private office. I knew I had pushed the pressure to the absolute limit. Whether they chose to fight alongside me or to continue drifting and waiting for the end was up to them. In the afternoon, several emails trickled into my inbox. Some were perfunctory, while others were well thought out. Chinemo was the first to submit, and it was high quality as usual. What surprised me was that the female colleague, Zhao Na, also submitted a rather impressive analysis. It seems she's not entirely useless. Nearing the end of the workday, Wang Jianguo walked into my office with a dark expression and slapped a USB drive on my desk. "Director Jiang, my analysis." His eyes were filled with unwillingness and venomous resentment. Wang Jianguo's analysis report was beyond my expectations. Although it was written with a tone of reluctance and resentment, The content was solid and well-structured, especially in outlining the channel relationships. He was far more experienced than a newcomer like Chinamo. It seems this old slacker isn't incapable, just too lazy to bother. I called him, Chinamo, and Zhao Na into my office. For now, the project team for the star presentation plan will consist of the four of us. Chinamo and Zhao Na's faces lit up with joy, while Wang Zhengwo wore a good-that-you-know-your-place expression. I'll be the team leader, responsible for the overall strategy and final decisions. Chinamo, you're in charge of data analysis and model construction. Zhao Na, you'll handle competitive research and user profiling. Finally, I looked at Wang Zhengwo. Brother Wang, I said, deliberately changing my form of address. You have the seniority and the connections. I'll have to trouble you with handling the channel partnerships. This is the key to whether we can implement this plan. Hearing me soften my tone, Wang Zhengwo's expression improved considerably, and he gave a reserved nod. Don't worry, Supervisor Jiang. I know this area like the back of my hand. A slap and then a sweet date. You have to use both the carrot and the stick to handle this kind of old shirker. For the next few days, the project team went into high gear. Chun Mo and Zhao Na practically lived at the office, their progress clearly visible each day. Wang Zhengwo, however, started his performance again. He'd clock in right on time and be the first to slip out at the end of the day. Whenever I asked about his progress, it was always, I'm in communication, almost there, or they're busy. On Friday afternoon, I called him into the conference room. Brother Wang, the bidding is next week, and you haven't secured a single letter of intent from the channel partners you're responsible for. He leaned back in his chair, looking completely shameless and defiant. Supervisor Jiang, do you think securing channels is like buying vegetables at the market? These guys are kings. You have to suck up to them, wear them down slowly. It's not that fast. Who do you think you are? Why should they give you a letter of intent? He muttered under his breath, thinking I couldn't hear. Looks like he thinks I can't do anything about him. I didn't argue with him, just nodded. All right, I understand. You can go now. Wang Zhengwo walked out smugly. I immediately called Chun Mo in. Pull up all of Wang Zhengwo's communication records and email exchanges from this week. There are backups on the company's server. I have the authorization. Chun Mo froze for a moment, but then nodded and went to do it. Half an hour later, the results were in. This week, Wang Zhengwo hadn't contacted a single one of the channel partners he claimed to be in communication with. The emails he sent were all for group buying deals. His call log was nothing but takeout delivery and his wife. What was worse, I discovered he had used his personal email to forward the project's core strategy, which I had sent him, to someone. The recipient's email domain belonged to a competitor, Group 1. The person in charge of Group 1 was Wang Zhengwo's cousin. I stared at the evidence on the screen, my gaze growing colder. This isn't laziness, this is malice. This is corporate espionage. I compiled the evidence, encrypted it, and sent it to Sister Sue. I added a note. Sister Sue, you can get HR and legal ready. After doing all this, I dialed Wang Zhengwo's extension. Brother Wang, come to my office for a second. I have something good to show you. Wang Zhengwo walked into my office, humming a little tune. Director Jiang, what are your instructions for me now? He asked, pulling out a chair and plopping down carelessly. I didn't say anything, just turned my laptop to face him. On the screen was a screenshot of an email he had sent to a competitor from his personal email address. The sender, recipient, time, and attachment contents were all crystal clear. The smile on Wang Zhengwo's face froze instantly. His pupils contracted violently, and a fine sweat immediately broke out on his forehead. What? What is this? It's photoshopped, right? Jiangyu, are you resorting to such low-down tricks just to get rid of me? He roared, his voice a mixture of bravado and fear. He won't shed a tear until he sees the coffin. I pressed the play button. A recording began to play on the screen, something I had recorded with my phone during our conversation yesterday. Who do you think you are? Why would they give you a letter of intent for cooperation? His sarcastic mumble was recorded with perfect clarity. I stopped the recording, leaned forward, and clasped my hands on the desk, watching him quietly. Wang Zhengwo, I'm giving you one last chance. Which channel partners were you responsible for, and what stage have the communications reached? His face went from white to ashen, his lips trembled, and he couldn't utter a single word. There was a knock on the office door. The HR manager walked in, flanked by two colleagues from the legal department. The HR manager handed him a document with a blank expression. Mr. Wang Jiangwo, due to your serious violation of the company's confidentiality agreement and the significant potential losses you have caused the company, we are now officially terminating your employment contract. This is your termination notice. Please sign it. A colleague from the legal department added. Furthermore, the company reserves the right to file a lawsuit against you to pursue legal and financial accountability. Wang Jiangwo completely fell apart. He slid to the floor like a puddle of mud, clutching the HR manager's leg and crying, his face a mess of tears and snot. You can't do this. Manager, I was wrong. I'll never do it again. I have old parents and young children to support and a mortgage to pay. Director Jiang, you're a bigger person than this. Please forgive me this once. He tried to crawl over and hug my legs. I took a step back, avoiding him. Now you know how to cry? Too late. I looked down at him from above. When you were leaking our core strategy to a competitor, did you ever think about your old parents and young children? When you were using company time to play the stock market while drawing a company's salary, did you ever think about your mortgage? Wang Jiangwo, I gave you a chance. My voice wasn't loud, but it struck his heart like a heavy hammer. He was utterly hopeless, slumped on the floor with a vacant look in his eyes. Security guards soon came up and escorted him out. In the office, everyone had stopped what they were doing. It was dead silent. The way they looked at me had changed, from the initial contempt to later fear, and now there was a new glint of pure awe. I walked to the center of the office and surveyed the room. What happened to Wang Jiangwo is a lesson for all of us. In this team, I only care about merit and hard work. But if anyone dares to break the rules, this will be the consequence. Now, the position of head of channel partnerships is vacant. Who is willing to take his place? No one dared to speak. It was a hot potato. Wang Jiangwo had messed everything up, and with less than a week left, it was an almost impossible task. Everyone lowered their heads, avoiding my gaze. Just when I thought no one would step up, a voice rang out. I'll do it. It was Chun Mo. He pushed up his glasses, his eyes resolute. Director, let me try. All eyes were on Chun Mo. Surprise, doubt, even some pity. Zhao Na tugged at his sleeve and whispered, Chun Mo, are you crazy? This is absolutely impossible. Chun Mo ignored her, just looked at me, waiting for my answer. He has guts, but guts alone aren't enough. I asked him, do you know what this means? I do, he nodded. It means I have to get letters of intent from at least 3 core channels within 3 days. It means I have to make up for the week that Wang Jiangwo wasted. What's your plan? I don't have a plan, Chun Mo answered bluntly, and I don't have Wang Jiangwo's connections. But I can grind. I can hit them one by one. If I can't find a person in charge during the day, I'll wait for them downstairs at their company. If once doesn't work, I'll try twice. I don't believe they can stay hidden 24 hours a day. His method was clumsy, even a bit naive, but in his eyes, there was a fierce determination to not stop until he reached his goal. That drive is more important than any fancy technique. All right, I nodded. From now on, you are the head of channel development. If you need any support, come directly to me. Thank you, Director. Without any more needless words, Chun Mo immediately returned to his desk and started frantically searching for information, compiling contact details for every channel he could find. Zhao Na looked at his back, wanting to say something but holding back. In the end, she just sighed and went back to her own work. The atmosphere in the office, because of Wang Jiangwo's departure and Chun Mo stepping up, became unusually heavy. Everyone realized that this time, they really had to give it their all. For the next 3 days, Chun Mo completely disappeared from the office. He would send me a text every morning to report his target companies for the day, and then there would be no word from him. It wasn't until late at night that he would send a second text, usually just a few words. Kicked out by security. Didn't get to see anyone. Scheduled 10 minutes for tomorrow. Even Zhao Na couldn't bear to watch. Director Jiang, this isn't going to work. Chun Mo is too honest. He's going to be eaten alive by those old foxes. Sometimes, being honest is the only way, I said calmly. In the face of absolute sincerity and persistence, many tricks become useless. On Thursday night, as I was reviewing the final proposal, I got a call from Chun Mo. His voice was tired and hoarse, but it carried a hint of suppressed excitement. Director, I got them. The letters of intent from Kwaisia and Pingo. I got them both. My heart skipped a beat. Kwaisia and Pingo were the two biggest traffic channels in the sinking market, and also the toughest nuts to crack. How did you do it? Chen Montak pauset. I waited for the vice president of Kwaisia in his garage for 6 hours. I cornered him, and he gave me 5 minutes. I explained our advantages and the value we could bring them. He was moved and told me to get the official seal from his assistant the next day. And Pingo, the purchasing director of Pingo, I found out he goes to a specific gym every day. I got a membership and had chance encounters with him on the treadmill for 3 days. He finally got annoyed and said that as long as I could help them lower their new user acquisition cost by 5 points within a month, he would sign. I could imagine how battered and persistent Chun Mo must have been these past few days. This kid is a diamond in the rough. Well done. I praised him sincerely. Come back immediately. We need to adjust the final proposal based on these letters of intent. Okay. After hanging up, I looked out the window, feeling for the first time that we might actually have a chance to win. On Friday, we pulled an all-nighter perfecting the proposal. Chun Mo brought back not just 2 letters of intent, but also a wealth of first-hand information and the real needs of the channel partners. This transformed our proposal from a theoretical exercise into something with flesh and blood, something highly actionable. Zhao Na, infected by Chun Mo's fighting spirit, worked until her eyes were red, taking the competitor analysis to the extreme. On Monday morning, we walked into the group's largest conference room for the STAR program bidding presentation. The people from Team 1 and Team 2 were already there, dressed in sharp suits, looking every bit the elite. Seeing the 3 of us, who looked like a defeated troop just coming from an all-night internet cafe session, their eyes were filled with undisguised ridicule. The leader of Team 1, Wang Zhengwo's cousin Wang Hao, even laughed out loud. Oh, Team 3 is here too? Just came to soak up the atmosphere. Chun Mo and Zhao Na's faces turned pale. I patted them on the shoulder, signaling for them to sit down. Go ahead and laugh. The happier you are now, the uglier you'll cry later. I opened my laptop and inserted the USB drive. The battle was about to begin. The bidding presentation began. Sister Sue was the host. She sat in the center, her expression serious. Beside her were several core executives of the group and the client representative for the Star Rise project, a shrewd-looking middle-aged man with gold-rimmed glasses, surnamed Lee. According to the lottery order, Group 2 went first. Their proposal was beautifully done, with an exquisite PowerPoint presentation, full of classical allusions and high-level theoretical models. They spoke for half an hour, but their core idea was simply to throw money at the problem, using a huge marketing budget to burn through cash for users. A castle in the air, all flash and no substance. Mr. Lee listened without committing one way or the other, just nodding occasionally. Next up was Wang Hao from Group 1. As soon as he got on stage, he gave me a confident look, as if to say, watch and learn. I'll show you how to do a proposal. The moment his plan was displayed, I smiled. The core strategy, the channel tactics, the user personas, 70 to 80% of it was identical to the initial draft I had given Wang Zhengwo. The idiot doesn't even know to change things when he copies someone's homework. Chun Mo and Zhao Na saw it too, their faces pale with anger. Zhao Na cursed under her breath. Shameless. Wang Hao spoke with impassioned fervor, as if the project were already his for the taking. After finishing, he looked smugly at Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, this is the proposal from Group 1. We have the strongest execution team and the most mature channel relationships. We guarantee we will achieve all KPIs within 3 months. Mr. Lee pushed up his glasses and suddenly asked a question. Manager Wang, your proposal mentions a deep strategic partnership with Kwaisia and Pingu. As far as I know, these 2 companies have always been quite arrogant. What makes you think they'll cooperate with you? Wang Hao froze. This question was clearly beyond the scope of what he had copied. He stammered. Our group has always had business dealings with them. We have confidence. Confidence. Mr. Lee smiled. Confidence can't be written into a contract. Sweat started to bead on Wang Hao's forehead. Sister Sue cut in at the right moment. Next, Group 3. I stood up, straightened my collar, and walked to the podium. There was no fancy PowerPoint. The first page was just 2 scanned documents stamped with bright red official seals. One was a letter of intent for cooperation from Kuaishia. The other was a performance-based gambling agreement with Pingu. Mr. Lee leaders, I began, looking directly at Wang Hao. We don't have confidence. I spoke each word deliberately. We only have contracts. The entire conference room fell, so silent you could hear a pin drop. Wang Hao's eyes were wide as saucers, staring fixedly at the screen, his mouth agape enough to fit an egg. No. Impossible. This has to be fake, he cried out. Mr. Lee's eyes lit up. He leaned forward, looking at me with great interest. Oh, continue. I ignored Wang Hao's outburst and began to present our plan. I didn't talk about those ethereal theories. I only talked about 3 things. First, how we would use the traffic from Kuaishia and Pingu at the lowest cost to precisely target our users. Second, how we analyze data from past failures to avoid all potential pitfalls and design a conversion path that users couldn't refuse. Third, I called Chen Mo and Zhao Na to the stage. This is my team. Data expert, Chen Mo. User expert, Zhao Na. Every single word in our proposal was derived from the data they ran and the user interviews they conducted. Finally, I looked at Mr. Lee. Our proposal isn't perfect, but it's real enough and practical enough to be implemented. We don't promise to burn money. We only promise results. We are even willing to sign a performance-based agreement. If we don't meet the targets, we won't take a single cent. I finished and took a bow. The conference room was dead silent. A few seconds later, Mr. Lee began to applaud. The applause grew from a sparse patter to a thunderous roar. Wang Hao's face was ashen. He slumped into his chair, defeated. Sister Su looked at me, her eyes filled with undisguised approval. I knew we had won. I hereby announce, Su Jie declared, that the winner of this star presentation project is Marketing Team 3. The moment Su Jie said this, tears instantly streamed down Zhao Na's face. She hugged Chen Mo tightly, laughing and crying at the same time. Chen Mo was also flushed with excitement, his hand adjusting his glasses trembling. Finally, all the hard work paid off. The people from teams 1 and 2 around us stared with looks of shock and disbelief, as if they were witnessing a miracle. As for Wang Hao, he had slinked away the moment the result was announced, not even daring to look back. Director Lee came over and gripped my hand firmly. Manager Jiang, congratulations. Your team has deeply impressed me. I look forward to working with you. You're too kind, Director Lee. We will definitely give it our all. After seeing Director Lee off, Su Jie called me into her office. She poured me a cup of tea herself. Jiang Yu, well done. In half a month, you've accomplished what others couldn't do in half a year. It was a team effort, I said honestly. Iknon suyesmilet, especially that young man, Chen Mo. He's a real talent. Nurture him well. I will. I'll have finance approve the project bonus ahead of schedule. Also, I'm giving you a special privilege. You have full authority to hire and optimize the personnel in Team 3. I only care about the results. This is the real prize. Thank Suya. When I returned to the office, the remaining members of Team 3 looked at me as if I were a god. They crowded around, congratulating me all at once. Manager Jiang, you're incredible. Team 3 is finally going to make a comeback. I raised my hand to quiet them down. Winning the project is just the first step. The real battle lies ahead. If you want to reap the rewards, then starting today, your easy days are over. Also, Chen Mo, from this day forward, you are the deputy manager of Team 3. You'll assist me in managing the project. Chen Mo was stunned, unable to believe his ears. I can't do it, manager. I say you can, so you can, I said, patting his shoulder. You've earned this. A round of applause broke out in the office, a genuine one this time. For the next month, Team 3 entered a state of high-intensity work like never before. Under my and Chen Mo's leadership, the entire team operated with high efficiency, like a precision machine. We strictly followed the plan, reviewing data daily and adjusting our strategy weekly. At the end of the first month, our core data not only met the KPI, but exceeded it by 20%. Director Lee was extremely satisfied and immediately approved the budget for the second quarter. The day the bonuses were paid, the entire office was buzzing with excitement. When Chun Mo received his six-figure, after-tax bonus, his hands were shaking. He thanked me over and over again. "Why thank me?" I said, looking at him. "You fought for this. Remember, on my team, ability and hard work will never go unrewarded." Zhaona also received a handsome bonus and went to order the little car she had her eye on for a long time that very day. Even the veteran employees who were slacking off at the beginning and were later forced to get on board received more money than their entire bonus total from the previous year. The way they looked at me changed completely. It was a look of genuine conviction and loyalty. I used the coldest rules to give them the most tangible rewards. This afternoon, I was reviewing reports when the company receptionist called. "Manager Jiang, there's a Ms. Lin here to see you. She says she's your former intern." "Lin Weiwei? What's she doing here?" "Send her up." When Lin Weiwei appeared at my office door, I almost didn't recognize her. She had lost weight and looked haggard. Gone was the pampered look she used to have. She wore an ill-fitting business suit, and her makeup was clumsily applied. Manager Jiang," she called out timidly. "What is it?" I asked without looking up. She stood at the door for a long time before mustering the courage to come in. I'm here to apologize." Her voice was very quiet. "I was immature before and caused you trouble." I grunted, continuing to look at my documents. If apologies were useful, what would be the point of rules? Seeing my cold reaction, she grew anxious. "After I left the company, I looked for a job for over 2 months, but no one would hire me. They all said I had high ambitions but low abilities, that I couldn't handle hardship. Only now do I realize that you were right. The workplace isn't my home. No one is obligated to coddle me." As she spoke, her eyes reddened again. But this time, she held back her tears. "Manager Jiang, I heard Team 3 is hiring. Could you give me another chance? I'll do anything, even serve tea and fetch water. I don't even need a salary." I finally looked up at her. "Lin Weiwei, do you think Team 3 is short on people to serve tea and fetch water?" She was stunned. "We're short on people who can solve problems, people who can create value. Can you do that?" My question left her speechless, her face flushing bright red. Go home." I ordered her to leave. "This world is fair. You chose the easy way out before, so you have to accept the consequence of gaining nothing. No one is obligated to pay for the time and opportunities you wasted." Lin Weiwei's body swayed. She gave a deep bow, then turned and left in silence. Watching her leave, I felt no sympathy. Everyone must take responsibility for their own choices. When I got off work, I saw a familiar yet strange figure downstairs from the company building. Wang Jiangwo. He looked more than 10 years older than the last time I saw him. His hair was graying, his back was hunched, and he was clutching a fruit basket, shivering in the cold wind. When he saw me, he rushed over as if he'd seen his savior. Manager Jiang. I stopped. "Manager Jiang, I was wrong. I was so wrong," he said, snot and tears streaming down his face. "I've been blacklisted in the industry. I can't find a job. My cousin was fired from Team 1 because of me. My whole family is about to starve. Please, talk to Director Su. Give me another chance. I'll even work as a doorman." I watched him quietly. "Wang Jiangwo, when you were leaking company secrets, did you ever think about this day?" He cried. "I was blinded by greed. I was just jealous of you. I'm not human." As he spoke, he dropped to his knees with a thud. Passers-by turned to stare, trying to win sympathy through emotional blackmail. The lowest of tricks. I didn't help him up. I just said coldly, "I'll only pay people a salary. I'm not responsible for saving anyone's life. You ruined your own life. It has nothing to do with me." After speaking, I walked around him and went straight to my car. Behind me, I could hear his desperate wails. I didn't look back. Some people are never worthy of sympathy. The success of the STAR presentation plan allowed Group 3 to make a complete turnaround within the corporation. We were no longer the trash can that anyone could kick around, but had become the most sought-after prize. Sister Sue directly assigned half of Group 2's core business to us, doubling the size of our entire group. Using the special privileges given to me by Sister Sue, I personally interviewed every new hire. My standard was singular: ability. Background, connections, and academic qualifications were not the most important things to me. I even hired a young man with only a high school diploma who was exceptionally talented at creating data models. Chun Mo performed better and better in his position as deputy supervisor. He was no longer just a tech geek who only knew how to bury his head in his work, but began to carry himself like a manager. Zhao Ana also became a project manager who could hold her own. The entire team developed a culture that was efficient, focused, and results-oriented. There were no office politics, no seniority-based hierarchy, and certainly no muddled, unresolved issues. Whoever is capable gets the position. Whoever contributes gets the reward. The rules were clear, and rewards and punishments were distinct. At the year-end corporate award ceremony, Group 3 of the marketing department won the Best Team of the Year honor. Chun Mo, Zhao Na, and I went on stage to accept the award on behalf of the team. Under the spotlight, I looked at the sea of faces below the stage. I saw Sister Sue's approving gaze and the envious, jealous looks from other departments. All of this was just the beginning. After the ceremony, Sister Sue organized a celebration banquet. After a few rounds of drinks, she called me aside. Jiangyu, the corporation is preparing to establish a new business division that will operate independently and specialize in innovative projects. I want you to lead it. This was a huge opportunity, meaning I would leap from a department head to become the corporation's youngest general manager of a business division. But I didn't agree immediately. Sister Sue, what about Group 3? Sister Susmaid. I knew you would ask that. Do you think the current Group 3 would fall apart without you? I was stunned. I thought of how Chun Mo could now hold his own, how Zhao Na had led the new hires to overcome one obstacle after another, and of the atmosphere in the office where everyone was self-motivated. I had built a system, not a one-man authority. I recommend Chun Mo to take my place, I said. Great minds think alike. Sister Sue raised her glass. I've had my eye on him for a long time. You go ahead and break new ground. Your home base is secure. I clinked glasses with her and downed it in one gulp. Returning to the table, Chun Mo, Zhao Na, and the others gathered around. Supervisor, what good news was President Sue just telling you? I looked at their faces, full of energy and confidence, and smiled. Nothing much. She just said that next year, we should swallow up Group 1 too. All right, no problem. The crowd roared in approval, full of high spirits. Looking at this troop of soldiers I had personally trained, for the first time, I felt something close to warmth in my heart. Perhaps I couldn't cater to their emotions, but through rules, I gave them the greatest foundation and dignity to establish themselves in this cold world. And that was enough. The preparations for the new business unit were a tangled mess of countless tasks. I took a few core members from Group 3, but most of them remained under Chun Mo. On the day of the handover, Chun Mo stood in my office for a long time, his eyes red. Director, I'm afraid I won't do a good job. You said the same thing 6 months ago. I handed him a stack of documents. This is the development plan and a few alternative projects I prepared for you for the next 6 months. But remember, this is just a reference. From today on, you're the director of Group 3. You need to have your own judgment. He nodded heavily. Director, in the future. Don't call me director anymore. I interrupted him. Call me Jiangyu. He was stunned for a moment, then smiled. A genuine, equal smile. All right, Jiangyu. The day I moved to my new office, all the members of Group 3 came to see me off. There was no sentimental farewell. They just lined up on both sides of the hallway and applauded me. The applause was loud and synchronized. This was their way, a pack of wolves I had tamed. The new business unit was named Pioneer and reported directly to the group CEO. I had become a true viceroy. Work was countless times busier than before. My days were filled with meetings from the moment I opened my eyes to proposals when I closed them. But I didn't feel tired, because everyone around me was a madman just like me. We strived, pioneered, and won for a common goal, using the purest business logic. The feeling was addictive. Late one night, just as I had finished a transoceanic video conference, my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar local number. I answered it casually. Hello. There was a long silence on the other end. Then a woman's voice, heavy with drunkenness. Jiangyu, is it you? The voice sounded a little familiar. And you are? I'm Lin Weiwei. She laughed on the other end, a laugh full of bitterness. You probably don't remember me. I had, in fact, almost forgotten. Is there something? My tone was as flat as ever. No. It's just, today at my company's annual party, my boss yelled at me. He said my work was garbage. She began to cry intermittently on the other end. I suddenly thought of you. I was thinking, if I hadn't left back then, if I had stayed with you, would things be different now? There are no ifs, I interrupted her coldly. Even if you hadn't left, you would have been fired by me on the second or third day for the exact same reason. Because you never thought about changing yourself. You just wanted to find a boss who wouldn't scold you. On the other end of the line, the crying stopped. Lin Weiwei, don't call me again. I only pay people's salaries. I have no obligation to listen to some irrelevant person vent their negative emotions in the middle of the night. After saying that, I hung up and blocked the number. My world is very expensive. There's no time to waste on such meaningless people and things. 1 year later, the Trailblazer division successfully incubated 2-star projects with profits exceeding 100 million, becoming the group's most powerful growth engine. As a result, I officially entered the group's board of directors, becoming the youngest director. At the year-end summary meeting, I spoke as the representative of the outstanding division. Walking up to the podium, I saw Sister Sue in the audience. She had already been promoted to group vice president. I also saw Chun Mo. The performance of Team 3 under his leadership was 30% better than when I was there. He also received an award today, Outstanding Manager of the Year. Our eyes met in the air, and we both smiled. My speech was very short. I didn't thank the leadership, nor did I look back on the hardships. I only said one sentence. At Trailblazer, we believe in one thing. Rules are the only weapon to protect the strivers, and also the fairest judgment for the lazy. Thunderous applause erupted from below the stage. After the meeting, I received a call from an unexpected person. It was my university mentor. Zhang Yu, you've been making quite a name for yourself recently. My mentor's tone was gratified. You're too kind, teacher. I'm not being polite. I have a student who just graduated this year. He's very bright, but his personality is a bit arrogant. I want him to go to your place to gain some experience. Are you willing to take him? Arrogant? I love to cure all kinds of insubordination. No problem. Let him come for an interview directly. I smiled. But teacher, I have to make it clear to you first. In my place, there is no ivory tower. I only pay him a salary. My mentor burst out laughing on the other end of the line and finished my sentence. I have no obligation to take care of his emotions. I get it. That's how it should be. Otherwise, these kids will never grow up. After hanging up the phone, I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, overlooking the myriad lights of the city. On my phone, a message from Chinamo arrived. Zhang Yu, want to have a drink tonight? I replied with one word. Okay. I knew that my story was far from over. But that Zhang Yu, who only knew how to arm himself with cold, hard rules, seemed to be, little by little, finding something more solid beyond the rules. For example, trust. For example, partners. For example, watching the utopia that I built with my own hands, thriving and growing.